Hi everyone, or shall I say Professor Wright, because I hope you're the only one seeing this video. Um, Today I'm going to be doing my Justice Atlas project on Los Angeles, a place a lot of people think they already know because of Hollywood, all the beaches, all the celebrities, the movies that take place there, the TV shows. A place I think of when I think of California or Los Angeles is Disneyland. I'm pretty sure that's not in Los Angeles, but Disneyland. Um, but LA is way more complicated than the glamorous stuff. It has a huge mix of different environments, different histories, and honestly, it has just a lot of injustices that a lot of people don't know about unless they live there or were there. So I have note cards. I won't remember all this information, obviously. And it's a better way, I think. It's like delivering a speech, basically, but to a camera. So if you see me looking down, that's where. But anyways, my guiding question is, how has the physical geography of Los Angeles, its climate, its landforms, and the natural systems combined with what humans do and their decisions like redlining, pollution, and uneven development to create a city where environment and equality are literally built on the landscape? In other words, why does LA look the way it does, and why does it look different depending on where you are, where you live in the city? Either up north, down south, east side of the city, or the west side. And in this video, I will be editing it and including clips, so I'm going to try to stay on this side so the photos can come right here. But moving forward. So to start, let's look at the actual geography of LA. Like the stuff where everything is, the land, the climate, the mountains, the rivers, all of that. Los Angeles sits on a Mediterranean climate, which means dry summers, mild winters. They don't really have snow, and not a lot of rainfall. So that's why they have their wildfires. It's honestly one of the rarest climates in the world. That's why LA looks so brown and dry most of the year. But it is hot. And it's why there's such a huge water weather issue. Wait. That's why there's such a huge issue with their water. I don't know if I'm gonna keep that clip in, but I just messed up my wording. Um then you have LA's mountain ranges, the Santa Monica Mountains, the San Gabriels, and the San Bernardo Mountains. These mountains literally trap pollution inside the LA basin. That's part of why LA is famous for all the smog. It's literally just a thing the geography does. It's not from the cars. Well, it is from the cars, but not just the cars. Alright, so since LA sits on so much fault lines, earthquakes is literally a natural thing in that place, in their city, which I would never guess where I stay in Illinois because that is not. I've never even experienced an earthquake before, but it's such a natural thing in Los Angeles. Crazy. Um, Sorry. The land is constantly shifting from the place always moving, so it affects so much things from buildings where people live to infrastructure planning. Water systems are another huge piece. The LA River looks so sad and tiny now, but it was once a major natural waterway before it was forced into these concrete channels. Most of LA's water supply comes from really far away, actually, like the Owens Valley, because the city completely overused its natural supply. This connects with Ortiz Dunbar's work about Indonesia's people and land because the original Tova land management used the river's natural water flow before colonization replaced their system. Um, if you look at the vegetation, a lot of LA's green is not natural. Their palm trees are imported, everyone's green lawns imported. Real vegetation are plants that survive droughts and wildfires. So, overall, the physical geography, the city that sets up the city is dry and prone to droughts. The mountains trap heat and pollution. It has water insecurity, and it has a natural wildfire and earthquake risk. All these earth systems interact across scales. I mean, from local neighborhood temperatures to regional water shortages to global climate change that makes LA so much hotter that people already describe it as. The natural environment creates both opportunities and risks, and humans made those risks hit some people harder than others. Now, let's talk about what it actually feels like to live in LA. Spatial empathy is basically trying to understand a place from someone else's point of view, like what Yufan Tuan talks about in Space and Place. He says that a space becomes a place when someone has an experience in it and attaches a meaning to it. So in LA, a place feels different. A place feels different in every neighborhood because the geography and the inequality shape your daily life. If you live in Beverly Hills or Santa Monica, your environment is green, shaded, clean, and cool because of the trees, parks, and the ocean breeze. You feel safe walking around. But if you live in the South LA, East LA, or the Inland Empire, your lived environment might be hotter, more polluted, and noisier. Heat waves feel more extreme. The air might feel like you're on a freeway, or there's so much gas and pollution in the air. There are fewer trees and parks, and there's more asphalt on the ground. If I showed you street levels of one neighborhood, it has safe sidewalks, clean air, and wide parks. But if I showed you another, it has cracked concrete, bus stops with no shade, and factories right behind homes. And these differences are not accidents. They come from decades of policies, which are redlining, zoning, and highway placement, which shape where people or shape where people could live and where they have to live next. The history matters too. The Tongva people lived on the land for thousands of years before the Spanish settlers changed it. The U.S. city expanded through water grabs and development. Then, in the 20th century, as Rothstein explains in The Color of Law, government housing policies forced Black, Mexican, and Asian families into certain neighborhoods while investing heavily into others. So people's daily experience in LA is shaped by both nature and history. So people's daily experience in LA is shaped by history and nature. Geography shapes life, and so does injustice. Okay, now let's get into the heart of the project. The environmental injustices in LA. And honestly, there's so much, but I'm going to pick a few to get us through this. The first one is going to be pollution. Because of LA's basin geography and mountains, all of the pollution gets trapped on top of certain neighborhoods. But these freeways and highways, factories, don't come out of nowhere. They get placed into poor neighborhoods where people already lived in due to the racist housing laws. For example, the 710 freeway runs through a majority of Latino neighborhoods. Historically, Black neighborhoods like Baldwin Hills or Inglewood have major oil fields right next to homes. So dangerous. The poor area in Wellington is one of the most polluted places in California. LA's geography amplifies the injustice, but humans created the pattern. Another one could be housing and redlining. Roston's Law of Color explains how Black and Latino families were pushed into certain districts through redlining and restrictive covenants. Those red areas later became homes to freeways, industrial sites, or waste factories or waste facilities, like where they waste stuff, garbage and stuff. Meanwhile, green areas got parks, trees, and investment. So the environmental map and the racial economic map basically line up. They pick and choose where they want stuff to go. The next one I chose is flooding and climate impacts. Climate change is affecting LA with stronger storms and rising temperatures. Poorer neighborhoods with old infrastructure face more flooding because the storm drains can't handle all the rain coming in, while wealthier areas bounce back faster, but the disadvantaged areas take way longer to recover. That's not right because they plan and put in more effort into the wealthier areas. The next one would be access to green space. There is a huge gap in who gets the shady parks and who gets the concrete schoolyards. Tuan says place is shaped by comfort and attachment. So if your place is hot and polluted and stressful, that affects what you feel about it and your daily emotions. And because if you're going there every day, it's going to affect how you feel if you're going to somewhere you don't want to be. These injustices aren't random. They are results of geography, policy, and power, like I was saying. So what would a more just LA look like? For starters, number one, climate resilience rooted in local knowledge. The braiding sweetgrass experts taught us about reciprocating, giving back to the land that gives to us. LA could adopt Indonesia's principles by number one, restoring native plants, not just palm trees, even though those are cool. I did touch on one time and it poked me. Using Tongva inspired water management. Three, and third, protecting natural waterways to get back in the natural water so it don't have to take from far away. Number two would be heat adaptation and tree equity, which would be planting trees where they're actually needed, like in the hot red line neighborhoods. It would lower temperatures, improve air quality, and create healthier streets. The third one is pollution reduction. Shutting down the neighborhood oil wells like the ones in South LA and transitioning into clean air follows energy justice frameworks from class. People shouldn't have to breathe in toxins just because of their zip code. It's not fair. The fourth one would be affordable housing and the anti-displacement policies. If LA adds if LA adds parks or restores the rivers, it needs protection so the people that live there don't get pushed out because it's a clean space now. We can do rent controls, or public housing investments so they can prevent green gentrification. Number 5, community-led planning. The Berkeley Belonging Institute talks about targeted universalism, meaning solutions should help everyone, but focus extra on the community that's impacted. In LA, that means designing climate and environmental policies with the impacted neighborhoods, not for them. So everyone can put a 2 cents into something. A resilient LA is one where the nature and culture work together, like Jumbo Ortiz described Indonesia's relationships to land. So, what does it mean to practice geography with justice? To me, it means looking at a place and seeing more than just its landmarks or Google Maps. It means seeing the way the land, climate, history, and policy all blend together to shape how people live there. And then deciding how those differences shouldn't be unfair. It means using maps. It means using maps not just to understand the world, but to make it a better place. LA is such a beautiful and complicated place, but it's also a place where justice is possible if we pay attention to the land and the people living in it. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you have a good one.